Freedom delayed again? That is the question many people are asking right now, as another legal development in the case of Nnamdi Kanu has changed the direction of expectations. What many supporters believed would be a small but important step toward easing his situation has instead turned into another setback. And the reaction across the country has been serious, emotional, and in some cases, completely silent. As it stands, a recent motion filed by his legal team was struck out by the Federal High Court. The motion was seeking a transfer from the custodial facility where he is currently being held to another location that would make legal consultations and appeal preparations easier. The idea behind this request was simple. His lawyers argued that being closer to the court and legal representatives would help in preparing properly for the ongoing appeal process. It was not a direct request for release. It was not a demand to cancel his sentence. It was simply a procedural request meant to improve access and coordination for his defense. However, the court ruled that the motion could not be entertained because certain legal procedures were not properly followed. According to the court, the motion was considered incompetent due to issues related to how it was filed and served. In simple terms, the judge did not even go into the main substance of the request. The court focused on procedure. And once procedure fails, the court is bound by law to strike out the application. This is where the frustration begins for many supporters. For them, this was supposed to be a sign of movement. It was supposed to show that the appeal process was actively progressing. Instead, it has created another pause, another delay, another moment where expectations rise and then suddenly fall. If you are following this case closely, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps this conversation continue, and it allows us to keep bringing balanced updates in clear and simple English so that everyone can understand what is happening. Now, let us look at the wider situation. Nnamdi Kanu was sentenced to life imprisonment in 2025 on terrorism-related charges after a long legal battle that began years earlier. His case has moved through multiple courts, including previous rulings that were later overturned or challenged. The legal journey has not been straight. It has been full of twists, technical arguments, and constitutional questions. One of the central arguments from his legal team over the years has been jurisdiction. They have argued that the manner in which he was returned to Nigeria raised constitutional issues. They have also maintained that certain aspects of the trial process were flawed. On the other hand, the prosecution has consistently maintained that the charges were valid and that the conviction followed due process under Nigerian law. So what we are seeing now is not a fresh case. It is the continuation of a long legal struggle. The recent motion that was struck out does not end the appeal. It does not confirm anything new about the conviction itself. It simply means that this particular request did not succeed because of procedural reasons. Still, perception matters, and perception is powerful. For many supporters, every legal defeat feels like the door is closing further. For critics, every ruling confirms that the court system is functioning according to law. This divide in interpretation is part of why the case continues to generate strong reactions nationwide. At this point, emotions are high, but the legal process remains steady. Appeals are expected to continue. His lawyers are likely to correct any procedural errors and possibly refile or pursue other legal strategies. That is how the legal system works. One motion fails, another is prepared. One argument is rejected, another is developed. It is a long and often slow journey. Let us also be clear about something important. Courts operate based on rules. Judges are not permitted to bend procedure because a case is popular or controversial. Procedure may seem technical, but it is the backbone of legal fairness. If rules are ignored for one person, they can be ignored for anyone. That is the reasoning behind strict procedural enforcement. If you value balanced updates and clear explanations like these, please like the video and subscribe right now. It helps more people understand complex legal issues in simple language. Now let us talk about the supporters. Across social media and public discussions, Many individuals have expressed disappointment. Some feel that the case has taken too long. Others feel that every opportunity for progress meets an obstacle. The phrase justice delayed is being repeated again. Yet at the same time, there are citizens who argue that legal matters, especially serious ones, require patience and careful adherence to law. The truth sits somewhere in between emotion and procedure. Legal appeals in serious criminal cases often take years. It is not unusual. So that what makes this case different is its political and social impact. It is not just a legal matter. It is a case that touches on national unity, freedom of expression, and security concerns. Because of that, every development becomes headline news. Another important point is that misinformation has circulated online in the past. At different times, there have been claims about international deadlines, secret negotiations, or immediate release plans. Many of those claims were later proven false. That is why it is important to focus only on verified court decisions and official statements. At this moment, there is no confirmed release, there is no confirmed transfer. What we have is a struck-out motion and an appeal process that continues. This does not mean the legal team has given up. In fact, legal battles often become stronger after procedural setbacks because lawyers review, adjust, and return with stronger filings. The appeal courts will eventually examine the conviction itself. That is the biggest stage. That is where major legal arguments will be tested. And this is where many observers say patience is key. Appeals are not decided overnight. They involve reviewing trial records, hearing arguments from both sides, and carefully applying constitutional law. It is a serious process. Please pause right now and like this video and subscribe if you have not done so. Staying informed is important, especially in cases like these where rumors can spread quickly. Looking ahead, the big question is simple. What happens next? The next phase will likely involve continued appeal arguments. There may be additional motions filed. There could be constitutional interpretations that will reach higher courts. That is the path available within the legal system. Politically, the case will continue to influence public debate. It already has. Discussions about fairness, national unity, security, and regional tensions have all been linked to this case at different times. So even when there is no major courtroom drama, the conversation continues outside the court. It is important for viewers to separate emotion from fact. Emotion is understandable. This case affects many people deeply, but facts must guide conclusions. The fact today is that emotion was struck out on procedural grounds. The fact is that the conviction still stands pending appeal. The fact is that the legal team is expected to continue fighting within the system. This is not the end of the story. It is another chapter. If you appreciate real-time style reporting presented in professional and simple English, please like this video and subscribe. It supports the channel and keeps the conversation alive. Now, let me ask you directly, do you think procedural issues should override humanitarian considerations? Or do you believe strict legal steps must always be followed, no matter how emotional a case is? Share your thoughts respectfully.